Hello everybody and welcome back to another Figurehead Reviews video, and today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Infamous Iron Man, which is a Walgreens exclusive here in the US and I believe an EB Games exclusive in Canada. But this is what happens when Dr. Doom wants to be a hero. He takes over the mantle of Iron Man. Pretty cool. We get a lot of accessories here in the front. We get the Avengers logo, which I don't think he was a part of the Avengers at any point, so I'm not sure why. But we get some artwork here on both sides, and then an expanded shot of that artwork on the back. No other figures, since this is a exclusive. There's no wave for it to go to. We do have the read up top here. Once one of the world's most evil villains, Victor Von Doom has a change of allegiance and assumes a new identity as a tech-powered hero, Iron Man. And then down at the bottom, you do have the UPC code, so you can check with your local Walgreens or EB Games to see if they have this in stock. But enough about that. Let's get this open and take a look at the infamous Iron Man. And here is the infamous Iron Man outside of his packaging. And I love these effects that they gave us with him, because he does still have a lot of his magical capabilities, even though he is in the Iron Man suit. So I think that's cool that Hasbro gave us just some additional effects so that we could represent that. And overall, I'm actually really happy that Hasbro is giving us some of these all new, all different, and some of these redesigned versions of classic characters. I still want a classic Dr. Doom at some point, but I think this is a nice intermediary and does really do well as a exclusive figure, just because he doesn't really hold too much of a place, and especially considering Walgreens has been kind of doing the Fantastic Four set. When standing straight up, this figure is just a little bit under 6 3/4 inches tall, which makes him about 17 centimeters tall. So he's a good size figure, and the Iron Man portion of it is good for the scale that you would have with the suit. So he does come with some additional accessories, so we have those effects there on his arm, as well as some alternate hands, and he does come with an extra head sculpt. So let's go ahead and get a look at first at those effects and the extra hands, and then we'll get a look at those head sculpts and the rest of the figure. And looking at the accessories, we get some of the lightning effects that we've seen before with characters like Storm and Thor. We have extra set of hands that is definitely not anything we have not seen with some Iron Man figures. And then same thing with the blast effects, very common to see with some Iron Man figures. This time we get a solid as opposed to a gradient color, and it is a pink. But yeah, it doesn't really have any kind of gradient or anything to it, so it's just one solid piece, or one solid color. Sorry, it's not a solid piece, because these two things are technically separate pieces. In case you never knew that, you can actually pull these out if you wanted to have. I'm not going to bother. But you can pull this blast effect out from the flame effect. And then he does have the set of blaster hands that we've been seeing with a lot of the Iron Man figures, and we don't get a hinge on these ones. These are permanently like this, so that way that piece doesn't get in the way when flexing. And of course, you can just port that piece right into it for the blast effect. Yeah, this one came out a little warped. And then you do get some fisted hands, which are pretty standard looking. They're fists. So, yep, I think that looks good. And then same thing with the lightning effects. As I said, we've seen these before as well, and they just look like, lightning and bolts of magic energy coming out. And I did have, which one was it? Was it this one? Yeah, I don't know what that is. It looks like it's inside the plastic there, though, some little defect in the mold. But I will say too, this one, while they're still flexible, they don't feel as flimsy as some of the other ones. I feel like they're using maybe just a little bit more of a sturdy material, because it doesn't seem to droop as bad as some of the other lightning effects that I've seen recently. So starting first here with the unmasked Victor Von Doom head sculpt here, we can see we get a pretty new and unique head sculpt from what we've seen before. This isn't just a reuse, or at least it's not one that I've seen before, and it's actually not too bad looking. Very unique, certainly stands out. I don't know, the jawline and the chin and everything look very very sharp and angular, little gaunt even, I'd say. The eyebrows and things like that are just a straight line. We don't really have any detail in it, but the eyes came out looking okay. Not a ton of paint, really just the brown of the hair and the eyebrows, and then the eyes there. So, and then is that a scar on his chin, or is that a mold defect? That's hard to tell. I feel like it's meant to be probably a mold defect, or not meant to be, but it is a mold defect. And the reason that we get a non-scarred or non-deformed looking Victor Von Doom is part of this storyline is sort of a what-if scenario where he gets his face back and decides, instead of being evil. He wants to be a hero. So that's that. To swap that out, just like any other Marvel Legends, pop it out. But real quick, I just wanted to show too, in case you had an extra suited body and you thought maybe you'll put it on there. Two things. Unfortunately, number one, the skin tone you can see doesn't match, and number two, it doesn't fit outright on there. You would probably have to either heat it up or maybe even Dremel this out to get it to fit. And even if you did, I know it's sitting high right now, but it looks like that head might be a little too big for a suited body, which is kind of a bummer because, yeah, I think that would have looked pretty good. But getting back to the infamous Iron Man here, so we pop that head back on and we'll stick his cloak back on because I do want to get a look at that as well. But looking at this head sculpt, very cool, very well done. We have the Iron Man that it is based on right there, so you can kind of see a close-up appearance. And yeah, not bad. And actually getting these side to side, that's a little bit taller. I was not expecting that. But very cool looking. I did look though to see about, I commented taking this hood off, and if you can see in there, it looks like though it's going to have probably a hole in the back where that is ported in, and then the glue all around top. So if you did that, you might have to do some work to clear it out. So, but looking at that cape and hood, you do get some pretty cool textures throughout, and it's actually well sculpted as far as making the cloak look like it's just hanging down there, and I like that. It looks good, and it does just come right off backside, nothing real special. But now looking down at the rest of the figure, so as I commented, this is based off of that the Invincible Iron Man figure that we got. So the only real difference there is we got some paint for the additional two lines there, but the same shape for that arc reactor, and minimal paint going throughout. You just got a couple spots with the green, but the silver plastic used on there looks good. A little bit of marbling, but it's not too shabby, and you can actually see a little bit of sparkle there in the suit, which is actually kind of cool looking, so it does give it a little bit of a metallic look there. And yeah, there's really not a whole lot to it. Very subtle paint details, makes it look pretty cool. Looking at the articulation, at least with this head, so it does go side to side, no problem. It can look down that far, but the hood's going to come up, and it can't really look up because that hood is in the way. So that is a little bit of a bummer. You're not going to get a ton of like flying poses. He does have arms that can come up about that far. You do have full rotation. You have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. And as mentioned, we don't have a hinge for the blaster hands, but we do on the fists. So you have rotation on that. You have an ab crunch that can go down, not too bad. It can go back quite a ways. And even, let's see. Yeah, that's going to look like, I don't know, that's going to look weird for a flying pose to get him look forward. You do have a waist rotation, legs that can come apart, not very far, kick forward, kick backwards, upper thigh cut, double jointed knee, and then you do have a hinge and ankle, and ankle pivot. But just beware, a lot of that articulation might be limited if you do have his cloak on. And for a quick comparison, here we have the infamous Iron Man in the middle next to the Invincible Iron Man, which of course that body sculpt is designed around. And then we have the last time we saw a villain inside an Iron Man suit with the Iron Skull on the right. So that about does it for this review, everyone, and I will leave my final thoughts in a comment down below, and I would encourage you guys to leave your thoughts with that. I want to hear what you have to say about this figure, and if you have anything to say about the review, leave that in the comments down below as well. If you like this content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more just like this, and aside from that, thanks for watching my video, and have a great day.